You think you know love. You think those butterflies in your stomach mean you found the one. You think compatibility is about sharing the same Netflix password and agreeing on pizza toppings. Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch. 5 simple categories that supposedly unlock the mysteries of human connection. But what if I told you that your love language isn't just about how you want to be loved? What if it's actually a psychological fingerprint that reveals whether you and your partner are destined for bliss or headed for disaster? Here's the plot twist that relationship experts don't want you to know. Love languages aren't just cute personality quizzes you take on a lazy Sunday. They're behavioral blueprints that predict everything from how you handle conflict to whether you'll still be together in 5 years. The way you express and receive love is wired into your brain's reward system, shaped by childhood experiences, and as unique as your DNA. And when two people with incompatible love languages try to make it work, it's like watching two people speak different languages while pretending they understand each other perfectly. Think of love languages as emotional operating systems. Your brain runs on one primary program, processing affection through specific neural pathways that light up like a Christmas tree when activated correctly. When your partner speaks your love language, your brain releases a cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin that creates that warm, fuzzy feeling we call being loved. But when they miss the mark, it's like trying to charge an iPhone with an Android cable. The connection just isn't there. Research from relationship psychologist Dr. Gary Chapman shows that couples who understand and speak each other's love languages report 75% higher relationship satisfaction than those who don't. That's not just a number. That's the difference between feeling cherished and feeling invisible in your own relationship. Let's start with words of affirmation. If this is your love language, your brain is literally addicted to verbal validation. You're not needy or insecure. You're neurologically wired to process love through language centers in your brain. When your partner says I love you, thank you, or you're amazing, your anterior cingulate cortex lights up like Vegas. But here's where compatibility gets tricky. If your partner's love language is acts of service, they might show love by doing your laundry instead of telling you you're beautiful. They think they're being romantic, you think they're being silent. The disconnect isn't about love, it's about translation. Studies suggest that people with words of affirmation as their primary love language tend to have higher emotional intelligence and stronger communication skills, but they also report feeling more anxious when their partners are verbally absent. Your brain literally interprets silence as rejection, even when your partner is showing love in other ways. Quality time lovers, you're the emotional archaeologist of relationships. Your brain processes love through presence and attention like a sophisticated radar system. When your partner puts down their phone and looks you in the eye, your mirror neurons fire in perfect synchrony, creating a neurological bond stronger than superglue. But if your partner's love language is receiving gifts, they might think buying you something special shows more love than sitting together watching paint dry. To them, a thoughtful present says, I was thinking of you when you weren't around. To you, a present without presence feels empty. Research indicates that quality time people have more active temporal lobes, the brain regions responsible for processing social cues and emotional memory. You literally remember every moment of undivided attention and every instance of distraction. Your compatibility depends on finding someone who understands that your love tank isn't filled by stuff. It's filled by seconds, minutes, and hours of genuine connection. Physical touch people, your skin is basically a giant antenna for love signals. Your nervous system processes affection through touch receptors that send electrical impulses straight to your emotional brain faster than you can say hug me. When your partner touches you, your body releases oxytocin within seconds, creating an instant chemical bond that other love languages take minutes to achieve. But if your partner's love language is words of affirmation, they might think saying I love you is enough. Meanwhile, you're sitting there feeling emotionally starved because your brain literally needs physical contact to feel secure. It's not about sex, though that's part of it. It's about the hand on your back while you're cooking, the spontaneous hug from behind, the fingers intertwined while watching TV. Studies show that people with physical touch as their primary love language have more sensitive nerve endings and higher levels of oxytocin receptors in their brains. You're not clingy, you're chemically designed for contact. Acts of service people are the practical poets of love. Your brain interprets love through action, not words or gestures. When someone does something to make your life easier, your prefrontal cortex registers it as care in its purest form. You see love in folded laundry, home-cooked meals, and filled gas tanks because your brain processes helpful actions as evidence of thoughtfulness and commitment. But if your partner's love language is quality time, they might think sitting together doing nothing is more romantic than organizing your closet. To them, productivity and couple time feels like avoidance. To you, productivity is love time. Research suggests that people with acts of service as their primary love language often come from families where love was shown through practical care rather than verbal or physical affection. Your compatibility depends on finding someone who understands that when you clean their car or handle their errands, you're not being controlling. You're being loving in the language your brain speaks fluently. Receiving gifts, people, you're not materialistic despite what everyone thinks. Your brain is wired to process love through symbolic representation like a sophisticated decoder ring. When someone gives you something thoughtful, your neural reward pathways light up because the gift represents time, thought, and effort invested specifically in you. It's not about the price tag. It's about the psychology behind the present. A hand-picked flower can be more meaningful than expensive jewelry if it shows your partner was thinking about you. But if your partner's love language is physical touch, they might think a quick kiss is worth more than any gift. They're showing love through immediate physical connection while you're craving tangible symbols of their affection. Studies indicate that people who value receiving gifts often have strong visual and memory processing centers in their brains. You literally file away every thoughtful gesture and every missed opportunity for gift giving. Your compatibility depends on finding someone who understands that remembering your favorite candy or surprising you with concert tickets isn't superficial. It's how you measure love. Now here's where things get really interesting. Love language compatibility isn't just about matching types, it's about complementary patterns and learned adaptation. Some of the strongest couples have completely different love languages because they've learned to become bilingual in love. The quality time person learns to buy thoughtful gifts, the physical touch person masters words of affirmation. It's like becoming fluent in a second language for love. But this adaptation requires emotional intelligence, patience, and genuine commitment to growth. Research from relationship laboratories shows that couples who actively learn each other's love languages have divorce rates 60% lower than those who assume their way of loving is universal. The secret isn't finding someone who speaks your language naturally. It's finding someone willing to learn, but let's be honest about the dark side of love language incompatibility. When two people consistently miss each other's emotional needs, resentment builds like pressure in a volcano. The words of affirmation person starts feeling invisible, the physical touch person begins feeling rejected. The quality time person feels ignored. The acts of service person feels unappreciated. The receiving gifts person feels forgotten, and instead of recognizing the translation error, couples often blame each other for not caring enough. He doesn't love me because he never tells me I'm beautiful. She doesn't appreciate me because she doesn't notice when I do things for her. The tragic irony is that both people might be loving desperately in their own language while their partner receives nothing but static. The neuroscience of love languages reveals something profound about human connection. Your brain's love receptors were calibrated in childhood based on how your caregivers expressed affection. If your parents showed love through hugs, your nervous system learned to interpret touch as safety. If they showed love through encouragement, your brain wired itself to crave verbal validation. If they demonstrated love through helpfulness, your reward system learned to value actions over words. This isn't conscious choice. It's neurological programming that runs in the background of every relationship you'll ever have. Understanding this can be liberating or terrifying depending on your perspective. You're not wrong for needing what you need, but you might be incompatible with someone who can't provide it. Smart couples use love languages like GPS for relationships. They identify their own primary language, discover their partner's language, and then actively practice speaking both. It sounds simple, but it requires constant recalibration because love languages can shift over time due to stress, trauma, or life changes. The physical touch person might crave words of affirmation after a difficult period at work. The quality time person might need acts of service when overwhelmed with responsibilities. Successful relationships aren't static, they're dynamic systems that adapt to changing emotional needs. And please remember, this is just informational content and doesn't replace professional relationship counseling when serious issues arise. Here's what most people miss about love language compatibility. It's not just about how you want to receive love. It's also about how you naturally give love. If your instinct is to buy gifts but your partner needs quality time, you'll keep solving the wrong equation no matter how expensive the presents get. Your brain will interpret gift giving as generous while their brain registers it as avoidance of real intimacy. The mismatch creates a feedback loop where both people try harder in ways that matter less to their partner. It's like running on a treadmill facing the wrong direction. Lots of effort, zero progress. The compatibility sweet spot happens when couples develop what researchers call love language fluency. This means understanding not just what your partner needs, but also recognizing your own biases about how love should be expressed. The acts of service person learns that sometimes sitting still together is more valuable than productivity. The words of affirmation person discovers that a back rub can communicate love more effectively than a compliment. This emotional flexibility requires self-awareness and genuine curiosity about your partner's inner world. It's not enough to memorize their love language, you have to understand the emotional logic behind it. But let's address the elephant in the room. What happens when love languages are fundamentally incompatible? When the physical touch person is paired with someone who finds constant contact suffocating. When the quality time person is with someone whose career demands constant travel, when the receiving gifts person is with someone who finds material expressions of love meaningless. Sometimes love isn't enough to bridge these gaps. Sometimes compatibility requires more than good intentions and communication skills. It requires fundamental alignment in how you both define and experience emotional intimacy. That's not failure, that's honesty. The research on long-term relationship success shows some fascinating patterns. Couples with similar love languages report higher initial satisfaction but don't necessarily stay together longer. Couples with complementary love languages often have more growth and adaptability but require more effort to maintain connection. The strongest predictor of lasting compatibility isn't matching love languages. It's shared commitment to learning each other's emotional needs and flexible approaches to meeting them. Love languages are tools, not destinies. But tools only work when both people agree to use them. If you really want to know whether you and your partner are compatible, try this experiment. Spend 1 week expressing love exclusively in their language instead of yours. If you're a words person, show love only through actions. If you're a gifts person, focus only on quality time. Pay attention to how it feels to love someone in their preferred language and notice their response to your efforts. This isn't about losing yourself in the relationship, it's about expanding your emotional vocabulary to include your partner's native language. The couples who thrive are the ones who become bilingual in love, switching between languages fluidly based on what their partner needs in that moment. The most fascinating discovery in recent relationship research reveals that love language compatibility can actually predict how couples handle major life transitions. When you understand each other's emotional operating systems, you navigate everything from career changes to family crises more successfully. The quality time couple learns to prioritize connection during stressful periods. The acts of service partnership divides responsibilities naturally during overwhelming times. The physical touch duo maintains intimacy even when life gets chaotic. It's like having an emotional roadmap for your relationship's future. Here's something that might surprise you. Your love language can evolve throughout your lifetime based on significant experiences, trauma recovery, or major life changes. The person who craved words of affirmation in their 20s might need quality time in their 40s. The gifts person might discover they actually need acts of service after becoming a parent. Successful long-term couples don't just learn each other's current love languages. They stay curious about how those needs might shift and adapt accordingly. It's emotional evolution in real time. Hit that like button if you've ever felt like you and your partner were speaking different love languages, and make sure to subscribe for more insights into the psychology of relationships. Your love language reveals more about your compatibility than your zodiac sign, your personality type, or your shared interests combined. It's the emotional blueprint that determines whether two people can build lasting intimacy or just keep missing each other in beautiful, heartbreaking ways. What's your love language, and have you ever had to learn to love someone in a completely different language? Drop your experiences in the comments below, because understanding love languages might just be the key to understanding why some relationships feel effortless while others feel like constant translation work. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and remember that love isn't just about finding the right person but learning to speak their language fluently.